Follow me to my favorite tree. Well, I'm offering a steady hand. I could be your security. There's no guarantee on anything. And I'll take care of you along the way. My love, one day at a time, will leave our troubles behind. And you'll take care of me along the way. My love, one day at a time, will leave our troubles behind. Here with you.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Sauna Talks. I'm Storm Carroll, and today I have yoga instructor, business yoga owner,
Co-owner.
Yeah. Maybe I'll just get you to introduce yourself. That would be
Sure.
an easier way. I didn't really think about how to introduce a
Yeah.
professional yoga person.
Yeah. I didn't think about how to introduce myself either. But my name's Dominic Parent, and I am a yoga instructor here in Terrace, BC. My wife does own and operate the studio where I work. And so, yeah, I'm here to talk a little bit about yoga today and a wide range of things that it can do for the body and community and just people in general.
Beautiful. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Yeah.
When was the last time you had a sauna?
Too long. Definitely too long. I would say probably two years ago.
Nice.
Yeah. Sweat lodge, but steam, and it was very hot.
And what'd you think about the cold tub?
Absolutely amazing. Like, my body is coming home to itself.
Do you think after this session you'll be able to stretch more?
I felt already that I did after the first one. I felt my spine go, and that was a great feeling. So, yeah, we're already there.
So how long have you been practicing yoga for?
I would say probably about 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice, man.
Yeah, 10 years, maybe 11.
And what got you into yoga?
Yeah. There's a distinct memory that I have.
Okay.
Okay. And I was young. I was 23 or 24, and I was traveling through Thailand. And I think I was only there it was the first week I was there. And I'd gone up to the mountains in North Thailand at this beautiful little farm. And I remember waking up one morning. It was very like mystical. I slept in like a clay hut, and there was fog, and everything was very quiet. And I walked kind of down to the community area where people would assemble. It was very early in the morning. I think it was 6. I thought maybe I'd be the first one up. And in the distance, I saw a man on his head, and standing on his head, or doing some form of headstand. And and I just remember this presence shining from him. I was like, wow, I've never seen this before. And he was just so still, standing on his head at 6 a.m. And I knew in that moment, I was like, oh, I want to do that. So that was like, that was the spark of inspiration that definitely was like, oh, I want to learn yoga.
The man standing on his head.
The man standing on his head.
I love that.
He gave it to me just with a moment.
I feel like most people's yoga origin stories are much different than that one. I like that.
I was just so inspired. I want to be like that guy.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then fast forward.
Yeah.
How did the studio come about? With you?
Yeah, big fast forward. The studio started 3 years ago. I wasn't involved in the creation.
Okay.
I connected with my wife after that. So, yeah, how did the origin of the studio? What's the question? The origin of the studio?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think it was was born during COVID at a time where there was kind of an understanding that perhaps health and wellness needed more attention and in different ways.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Health and wellness of the body and the mind was like, let's bring that to the community.
Yeah.
Those were the roots.
So yoga is one of those things, like, for myself, like basically my whole life anyway, is kind of like daunting. I would say also for a lot of men, it might be really daunting. Women seem to have a easier time getting into it. But like, what would be some advice, or like basically why would we do yoga? Why should people do yoga? Let's start there.
Right. I'll take away the word should.
Okay.
Yeah. Because nobody should do anything.
Right. Okay.
That's just a personal belief.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. It's one of those things. I often think about it myself too, and I'm like, oh, I should. And I'm like, you know what? Hold on. That's a little. There's too much pressure involved with that.
Yeah.
So, but a good option, like why people could do yoga, is, and you spoke about men, and sort of, and I would agree. There's definitely sort of maybe a stronger resistance, and it could be born from, I'm not flexible enough, and there could be a belief that one needs to be flexible to practice yoga. And I think one of the things I try to encourage, or a metaphor, is like most of us drive vehicles, and most of us are very attentive to the needs of the vehicle. The pressure of the tires of going on a long trip, the amount of gas in the tank, if the washer and the engine coolant and the oil levels, the tires for the whatever, right? There's attention that you would take to your vehicle because it's a vehicle. We use our vehicle for things. So yoga is a way of taking, in a base form, like taking our bodies to the mechanic and looking under the hood and seeing what needs to be fixed, seeing what parts are loose, seeing what parts are tight, seeing where all the nuts and bolts are sort of, kind of falling off. And I find that yoga is a great avenue to look under the hood. I think, we can also be prone to living busy lives and forget to look at our vehicle, the vehicle of our body.
The car analogy that you just spoke of is the second time that's been on the podcast. So, good analogy. I thought originally I might have created that one, but apparently...
Were you the first person to say it on the podcast?
I brought it up with Elizabeth Esau, massage therapist.
Right.
And then she ran with it and did a bunch of back and forth on how we should be taking care of our vehicle. So what is your advice for somebody who wants to get into yoga?
Yeah, I would say definitely talk to someone who knows a little bit about it, or already goes. I think it's one of those things, like if I were to try a new sport, I would want to go to a friend who plays tennis and hey, I'll come to tennis with you, man. Like I'll join you on this, or a woman, whatever. So seeking someone who's already involved, because that peer support can be a great thing. Right. And it could be a fun thing, like, hey, you just want to go to yoga tonight and then do something after. You want to vibe in a yoga studio for a bit. And also, I think it's also like maybe learning an instrument. Sometimes it can just seem overwhelming at the beginning. I don't know if you've ever picked up a guitar, but I definitely have. And strumming away at my few chords, and I'm like, oh man, I'll never be good at this. Yeah. And then I look at someone who can play, and I'm like, oh, well, they're good. I'll never get there, So I think it's getting over that mental resistance of, like, oh, those people are better than me, or I'm not good, I can't do it. So I think, finding a way to, hurdle over that. And I also think that when beginning, going hard isn't necessarily a thing that one needs to do. I think starting small and being consistent will go a long way.
I'm so bad at that. Yeah. Like, so bad at getting all hyped up and doing something, and then, sure enough, hurting myself pretty much.
Right. So, yeah, that's kind of why I said the consistent thing, because I think, something funny about yoga, or maybe not funny, but like is a real thing. And I've been told this before by a yoga teacher, you know, like I think a few years ago I went to a yoga class, and the teacher told me, it's like, wow, you like your ego really speaks loud on the mat. And I was like, what? I'm great at yoga. No, it doesn't. She's like, exactly.
Nice.
And the thing behind that is, so, and I think I've learned a lot in the last few years, but yeah, so a few years ago, like, I would get onto the yoga mat, and I would in my head have this kind of image of like, yeah, I've got to like look really good doing it, and I've got to like stretch real far, and I've really got to like prove to myself and maybe those people around me who might be peeking that, wow, he's good at this. So I had sort of an ego structure of, you know, appearing to be good and also thinking to be good.
But yoga is supposed to be different.
Opposite of that.
Opposite. Okay. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, it's about realizing that, oh wow, I do have a like an internal complex of my ego that speaks in that way, and yoga helped me kind of see that.
So I signed up for yoga, and I thought the other day, because I saw a poster for a beginner's class, and I signed up for men's class. Should I have taken a beginner's class, or is it cool that I went to men's class?
I think both would have been nurturing.
That's fair. Yeah.
Not to say you need to go hard, but right. Another thing to people, to come back to the previous question and to answer this question, I think when starting out, and if you're wondering if you should do men's or the beginner series, I think it's a great thing to try different styles.
Okay.
Because like this studio where we offer a variety of practices, and not everybody needs the same practice at the same point in their life. Like sometimes people have very busy lives and they're already active, and maybe their cortisol and whatever, their body's always kind of, driving, and they go to the gym. They might not want to go to a strong yoga class. They might want to go to one of those get the pillows, turn off the lights, relax kind of class, right? So there's various styles, and then the different styles can speak to different people's needs at different times.
Very cool.
So a beginner's series, for example, if you were to try that, you might have seen, oh, I kind of like this. Oh, I don't really like that. Or,
How do you decide? This is the weird things I think about, but like, are you on the fly with your classes because you're such a seasoned yoga vet? Are you like, do you go into the class knowing what you're gonna do, or are you just kind of like following your body or winging it kind of deal?
Yeah, good question. And I think that's different for different yoga instructors.
Okay.
I know some instructors have a piece of paper every time, and that's their jam, and they go by it. I typically go a hybrid. So, yeah, I do a lot on the fly. I do often plan as well. Okay. I would say I plan and then I go on the fly.
That makes sense.
So I have an idea, but then something about the idea and the paper can be a little bit more intellectual and heady. And then as people arrive in the studio, and as I watch people in the class, just where people are at, kind of dictate what I choose.
Okay.
So if I have something on the paper, but I'm like, oh, this is not where we're going. Yeah. So I kind of like read the energy of the people and see, and ideally tune into what might be the optimal place to go.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, should we hop in for another steamer? Round 2?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah. Warm the
Alright.
bones.
End of round 1. There we go. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right, round 2. How was that sauna for you there?
Well, I got really cold in the first round.
Yeah.
So the sauna was absolutely incredible.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you're gonna do the cold tub after the interview
After the talking this time.
compared to before.
Yeah,
Smart.
it's a cold fall day, and yeah, I've learned.
Yeah. It also rained and stopped while we were in the sauna.
Mm.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, fast changing weather.
So what can we talk about here?
Yeah.
I kind of want to talk about, I think on round 3 we'll talk a bit about longevity,
Sure.
but maybe what can yoga do to help people with stress? Is that like, or maybe should we start like yoga and meditation? What is their relation? Is it, is that a good question?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, what's the relationship between yoga and meditation? So, thousands of years ago, at the birth of yoga, somewhere in India, won't get too much into detail, but the practice of yoga was designed so that people could meditate better.
Okay. Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So if you think about meditating, generally sitting still for extended periods of time, the really diehards, want to go for hours and hours and really, dive in somewhere far. Great. So I imagine if you've ever tried to sit down after not moving your body, or maybe how to say it, when you sit down, you may notice you get fidgety, at least I do, or I sit down, I've been sitting for 5 minutes, my lower back's a little, my shoulders are a little tight. So the whole practice of yoga was to kind of like massage everything on the inside of the body so that when someone wanted to meditate, they could sit down and feel like, oh, my body will feel great for a long time.
Okay.
Yeah. That's essentially the relationship between yoga and meditation in one answer.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
For me, with meditation, I'm not really a practicer, but I do breath work, and then I do the cold tub, and I find I'm pretty sure I'm meditating during that. Because
I'm pretty sure you are too.
you can't really think about anything in the cold tub.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, I would say that meditation, it generally is just being aware of your breath
Yeah.
in kind of a raw form. So, you say you like breath work, and in the cold tub, in my experiences, I just went in, and having done it before, like breathing is essential. If one does not breathe well in a cold tub, the mind will begin to panic.
Yeah.
And when the mind panics, then the body thinks it's in danger, which, I mean, yeah, it's cold, but it's not a threat. You're not going
Right.
to die. It's not a lion. So if your, your fight or flight response kicks in, generally because, the breathing isn't in line with the environment. So, it's a great way to meditate.
So
Yeah.
I find breathing. I don't quite understand breathing with yoga yet.
Yeah.
Like I know I'm supposed to either inhale and exhale between every move.
Right.
That's my struggle right now in the class.
So it's basically an inhale in through your nose and an exhale through your nose.
Okay.
But it's more of I like to explain it as like a pulling motion rather than a sucking. So a sucking motion would be like, and a pulling motion is more like.
Okay.
So there's a subtle restriction in my throat as I'm breathing through my nose.
Okay.
If I were to blow fog into my mouth, I've got to apply the same restriction to my throat.
Okay.
So if you ever want to play around with what that feels like, pretend you're breathing out fog. Notice that sensation in your throat. Apply that same tightening of your throat, and then breathe in through your nose like that. And it's this kind of like controlled breath. And that's one of the basic foundational styles of breathing in yoga.
Okay.
And ideally, it's very hard to do. One would breathe consistently like that with no breaks or distractions for the length of their yoga practice.
Oh wow. Okay.
Providing there isn't moments where perhaps there's intentional breath work that shift the breath in a different fashion, but through all the postures and everything, that same consistent breath.
Okay.
And the reason behind that is, so if I breathe consistently, let's even say if I'm breathing 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out, which I think is close to the optimal breath, as I've read in a book.
Okay.
If I keep my breath consistently, 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out, for an hour straight through my nose, and I put my body through various strains and postures, there's a sense of safety and balance that comes with that.
Oh, okay.
Right? So if I'm in this weird balance pose, I'm on one foot, my arms are tangled, I'm looking down at the ground, my toes sticking out, all these awkward, but my breath is level.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of one of the goals, and how that translates to life is that we go through a variety of experiences and strains and, conflicts out of nowhere or just challenging situations. And ideally, if in those situations we could keep our breath at that even level, it's not to say we wouldn't experience anything, but the turbulence of emotions wouldn't kind of sway us so much. Still get angry and upset and frustrated, but there would still be that sort of like, okay, but I'm still kind of like, I'm level in my breathing.
Right.
I'm good. I can do this.
Okay. Well, I think we'll do a cold dunk and we'll go in for round 3.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm glad we saved the cool dunk for after.
Yeah, smart.
Yeah, good move. Good move for sure.
All right. Round 3. The wind just came in and blew a mega ton of leaves
Wow. That
down.
is absolutely incredible.
That is pretty cool.
What, they might come in right here.
Yeah, here
We
they
might
come.
be able to catch
Oh,
one.
Oh. That was really cool to see.
Yeah.
How you feeling round 3?
Well, I feel great. Yeah. Sincerely, like, just well in my body. Warm. Definitely surrounded by magic.
Yeah,
Leaves, for example.
that was pretty magic.
Yeah, you have done well with building yourself a sauna and having a cold pool.
Thank you.
The level of wellness that it can bring to a body, and just based on the conversations we've had in the sauna about it, is absolutely incredible. So yeah,
Thank you.
I hope I will one day.
There it is. There it is. We're always welcome back.
Yeah, yes, very good.
So I try to end the podcast typically talking about longevity because that's kind of like my main theme. And I'm 36 and I haven't really taken much care of myself over the years. And I guess it's probably an ongoing theme for everyone, maybe my age or everyone with children.
Mm-hmm.
But like I want to be fit and able to play with my kids when, they're older.
Mm.
And so one thing I know, like aging muscle mass helps, but then there's this whole other side where the yogis are, so you got the gym folks and they're doing all the great stuff and living long, but then you also got the yogis.
Mm.
So what's going on there?
Yeah, what are they figuring out here?
What's the secret sauce?
Probably both combined.
Yeah, that is the secret sauce.
I admit I could definitely use more gym time in my life. Yoga's great, gym's great, both of them together.
Yeah.
I mean, you get muscle mass, and then you get yoga's giving you. It's lengthening those muscles that you're massing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's giving functionality to the muscles. Because building only muscle, got to be able to use the tools that you're building, and yoga can be great for that. Increasing flexibility, and starting yoga, start where you're at. Flexibility. You are where you're at. Just start from there. There's no prerequisite. That's what I like to say. So the secret sauce.
I would just take a guess that it's kind of like along those lines. Well, like sure, flexibility is one thing, but like always hear people say like, once you stop moving, you die.
Right.
Is it kind of like related to yoga? Probably not really.
I mean, well, probably, yeah, kind of. And like, if you think about our ancestors, they lived mobilizing their bodies out of need for survival.
Right.
We do not necessarily live in an age where needing to be mobile is necessary for survival. Actually, we live in such a state of comfort that it's very easy not to be immobile and still survive.
Yeah.
You know, like we could live all day without even touching the ground. I could wake up in the morning, put my socks on, go to work with my shoes on in my car, and then go to a building, and I would live the whole day without connecting to the earth. To tie that into mobility, you know, I guess I say that out of, there's a sense of reconnection or just connection in general that's needed for the human body. We were talking about that briefly, about knowing the plants and the trees, the environment that's around us, being aware of the earth and connected to it. And so, yeah, that's important. And it's still important. It was to our ancestors, and it's still important. And so yoga can be a great way to bring mobility into one's life. And I believe that, you know, doing yoga it's an enhancer.
Yeah.
Right? And I notice that in my day-to-day life. If I go through a phase of consistent practice, doing well, and then I go practice martial arts, jiu-jitsu maybe, or go skiing, all of my limbs are pre-lubricated, you know, ready. They've prepared themselves for all of these movements in our life. And so, yeah, you're speaking about longevity. And
you're just staying lubricated.
Staying lubricated, man.
Yeah.
Keeping the joints lubricated, keeping the tissues soft, or whatever they need to be, just keeping the body well, maintaining it. It's dying already. You know, it's inherently gonna die. Gotta nurture it before it gets there.
It's kind of a no-brainer, really. Like, I mean, a lot of health stuff, it's weird that a lot of it is like a no-brainer, and yet we still got to talk about it and almost force myself anyway, force myself to do it. It's interesting.
It is interesting, and that's a good point. Like, you know, it is a no-brainer, and talking about it, and you know, that discipline, that willpower to like physically carve out time. And so we were speaking to earlier, we both have kids, quite young kids, and there's definitely a dynamic shift in life. I used to wake up in the morning alone and be like, hey, I've got the next 2 hours. I'm a take care of myself and get ready for the day.
Your dream.
Now I'm like, hey, I got 20 minutes maybe. I'm gonna have a 10-minute shower and I'm gonna stretch for 10 minutes. I think sometimes, doing yoga or getting out there and trying it for the first time, going to a studio, going to classes, absolutely recommended, because it's a great introduction. You learn, or in my experience, I learned poses. I noticed how those poses felt in my body, and then when I was at home, I wouldn't necessarily roll out my mat and punch out an hour class by myself, but I would be like, hey, I remember that this pose feels good, so I'm gonna do it for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's it. And that, I think, I know you didn't ask the question, but I think that's incorporating yoga into a busy lifestyle, or a full schedule, is not going, I need like an hour, need to light an incense and to roll out the mat, close the curtain, gotta have a shower it's like, I got 20 minutes, I can spend 10 of that doing a forward fold, or maybe whatever feels good in my body, and then just taking those short breaks of time. And I think that ties into longevity, as we are humans of production, and we're really good at doing stuff. Micro breaks, I think, is the key to longevity in a way.
Cool.
The bigger breaks will come, you know, but micro bakes for sure. For sure.
Is that kind of like a goal? Is that as an instructor that people like take these skills home?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah. It's one of those it's one of those things too where it's like I want people to come to my class.
Yes. Yeah.
But I also want you to take home the benefits that you received. And if that means eventually developing a stable practice at your house, or just simply not coming back because you don't feel like it, that's cool too.
Right.
But at the same breath, I love the community sense of a class as well too. You know, I think in my own experience, and I imagine a lot of people can attest to this, you know, punching out a yoga session at home is just not the same in a group with people with that, that presence of community. Yeah.
And you just strive to be better around people.
Totally.
I think anyway.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
There's a
push.
There's a push. There's we're in this together. Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming on the pod and having a steamer with me.
Yeah.
And
what a gift.
I look forward to seeing you at Men's Night.
Yes.
7:30 Men's Night.
Yeah. Men's yoga.
Get a hold of Dom if you want to come out. And
yeah, it's a great time.
Thanks for coming out, and appreciate all you do for the community.
Thank you.
Stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Anytime.
Yeah, it's really great to see this being born, and I think even though we kind of joked about the no-brainer talking about health and wellness, I think it's still great to talk about.
I do. I agree. Yeah.
We got to talk about the no-brainer stuff because
that is true.
So very, very grateful for you having me here and all the beautiful things.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, you're watching Sauna Talks with Storm Carroll. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. I'm going to let it ring out real good this time. Or should we end on an ohm?
Let's end on an ohm.
Ooh,
okay.
I'm really into the ohms.
Yeah, do you want to lead it or?
No,
would
I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing, but I enjoy it in the class.
We'll do it standard, the way I offered in class.
Okay.
We'll start with an inhale and then an exhale, just a little clearing breath. We'll take a deep breath in, and then we'll ohm from there.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we'll just let that happen.
All right.
Okay, so you can close your eyes if that feels good. Taking in a nice big inhale and exhale. And inhale.
I don't know what it is about that. It's so nice.
Isn't it great?
It was really nice.
Yeah. It's a really it's just grounding or something, clearing. A lot of benefits to it for sure.
All right, thanks for coming out.
Peace, be still, my darling. All is well, my darling. Your anxious heart may as well be stone. Oh, it weighs you down deeper than you know. Yeah, it weighs you down deeper than you know.
Be still.